Insects are vanishing. Recently, a Sami's data channel I watch has had multiple reports that insects are missing this summer in locations scattered around United States. This was not unexpected. The reduction in insect numbers started decades ago if German amateur entomologists' data is to be believed, but it has since been recorded around the world, including places like Colorado and Costa Rica. In Germany, the amateur entomologists discovered that in their test areas, the biomass of flying insects had plummeted by 76% between 1982 and 2019. The effects were visible already 2011 as the reduction in bird populations in nearby region. The scientists have sounded an alarm. Insects are possibly the most important group of land animals in terms of species numbers and biomass. They are important pollinators, decomposers, soil and biome modifiers, and they disperse nutrients even when not serving as important food source to other species in food web. Bee colony collapses around United States and the rest of the world have been reported for years, and it is important for food production and economic reasons. Without the about 2 million beehives transported annually, canola, almond, citrus and many other insect-pollinated crops would collapse. Not only because the natural pollinators are about gone, but because all the flowers in monoculture orchards are blooming only few weeks a year, needing the trucked hives there for those couple of weeks. When the flowers are gone, and the bees have been taken to next fields, and there are no food for natural pollinators, because all the flowers in the field bloomed within those 2 weeks. The loss of insects has been attributed on a variety of reasons, among other things pesticide use and other environmental poisons including chemtrails and 5G radiation, monoculture, spreading diseases, especially varroa mite in bees, and changing climate. While a large number of species are affected, reading the reports has given me an impression that the selection of missing species seems to vary from place to place, suggesting multifactorial causes. Basically, modern world apparently does not have space for bees or butterflies. I would probably blame monoculture, that is, humans have appropriated too fat a slice of ecological resource pie for themselves. Traditional agricultural landscape in Europe used to have many verges, ditches and hedges where wild plants and insects that relied on them could flourish. Now such places are rare. For example, I have observed in horror how most species of the meadow flowers, once common on roadsides near Turku, Finland, seem to have had a population collapse in the past decade, though the destruction has not been total yet. I blame this on the municipal maintenance crews mowing the verges before the seeds have ripened. Annual plants fare the worst, but I suspect perennials will eventually follow. Any insects relying on those flowers also likely fare poorly. As the small wild spots grow fewer and further between, I suspect we have crossed a critical threshold on insect metapopulation dynamics. Ilkka Hanski, studying Glanville fritillary butterflies living on dry meadows on rocky islands, showed that the butterfly metapopulation would survive for as long as there were enough patches with butterflies near each other. In this case, the minimum was estimated to be 32 patches covering total 10 hectares or 25 acres over 5 square kilometers or about 1.93 square mile area. Individual patches of plants or insects living on them could be ephemeral, that is, the butterflies on a given patch could disappear or appear from year to year, but metapopulation formed by the butterfly populations of individual patches what keeps a species going if the amount and density of patches are sufficient. Extrapolated onto insects in general, I think the ongoing collapse may indicate that despite good people setting their individual gardens for butterflies, bees and other insects, if a garden population is lost, for example to local bad weather or disease outbreak, there are no longer enough insect patches left nearby to repopulate the patch. Sooner or later, isolated gardens will lose their insects, and when the metapopulation is gone, what can be done to reverse this trend? I suggest starting by restoring some verges. Also, not mowing your yard while the flowers are seeding, as ugly as the drying seed heads may look. Insects are not very big, so they do not require nearly as large sanctuaries as roaming megafauna, but there should be plenty enough patches to maintain a viable metapopulation, so that if some species is lost on one spot, the spot can be colonized by insects from the neighboring spots. For example, these bugs were among a small swarm that was obviously having a mating season in a flower bed. To keep this channel family friendly, I left out the video of actual action. However, if successful, their offspring may go forth and multiply to colonize many flower beds because this neighborhood is full of gardens. I believe micro-rewilding, leaving some space to small life, to be compatible and beneficial with current human population levels, possibly even essential if we want to retain their ecosystem services necessary for food production. Assuming there are no confounding factors like possibly 5G radiation to prevent its success.